Your modern house is built to freeze. A medieval stone cottage was built to hold heat. Right now, your furnace is fighting a battle it can never win. Heat escapes through your walls, through your roof, through your windows. The second your furnace stops, the bleeding begins. Your house forgets it was ever warm. Medieval peasants built something different, something modern heating companies don't want you to know exists. They built stone batteries, massive thermal mass heaters that absorbed heat slowly, held it for 24 hours, released it gradually. One fire in the morning heated the home until the next morning. They burned twigs and branches, waste wood, scraps. We burn natural gas piped from hundreds of miles away. We burn it continuously. We spend thousands yearly. They spent nothing and stayed warmer. The technology is called a masonry heater, or a Russian fireplace, or a Finnish contra heater. Medieval peasants called it survival. Modern building codes call it obsolete. But here's what modern codes won't tell you. Your $8,000 high-efficiency furnace dies the moment it stops burning fuel. A medieval masonry heater stays hot for a full day after the fire goes out. One uses constant energy and fails constantly. The other uses minimal fuel and never fails. We traded durability for speed, efficiency for dependency. And now we freeze in homes that cost $300,000 while medieval peasants stayed warm in stone huts that cost nothing but labor. Section 2. The villain. Modern forced air heating. Modern heating is a scam. Not because furnaces don't work. They do. The scam is that they have to keep working. Forever. Continuously. Burning fuel every single day. Your furnace heats air. Air has almost no thermal mass. The moment heated air touches a cold wall, it loses temperature instantly. The air cools. Your furnace kicks on again. The cycle repeats. You're heating the same air over and over, losing the same heat over and over. Medieval peasants understood something fundamental about physics. Air can't hold heat. Mass can. Stone, brick, clay, earth. These materials absorb heat slowly, store it densely, release it gradually. A pound of stone can hold 50 times more heat than a pound of air. Your modern home is built from materials chosen for one reason: speed of construction. Drywall, studs, fiberglass insulation, vinyl siding. These materials are light, cheap, fast to install. They also can't hold heat. Your walls are hollow, your insulation is air pockets, your entire structure is designed to be lightweight. When heat enters these materials, it passes through quickly, doesn't stay, doesn't accumulate. Medieval walls were solid stone, 2 feet thick, pure thermal mass. Heat that entered those walls stayed for hours, sometimes days. The wall itself became a heater. Modern insulation tries to prevent heat loss. It fails because insulation is passive. Medieval thermal mass actively held heat, stored it, released it when needed. We replaced a heat battery with a heat barrier. The barrier leaks. The battery didn't. Here's the cruel irony. Modern building codes require minimum insulation values. R values. Thermal resistance. Those codes were written by insulation manufacturers, lobbied into law. The codes specifically make massive thermal mass construction difficult to permit. Why? Because thermal mass works too well. A population living in stone homes that heat with one morning fire doesn't buy natural gas, doesn't pay monthly utility bills. The entire heating industry depends on your home bleeding heat constantly. They built that dependency into building codes. Medieval peasants didn't have codes. They had physics. And physics says mass beats air every time. Section 3. The Forgotten Tech. The Masonry Heater Mechanism. Walk into a medieval hall on a winter morning. The fire burned out hours ago. Ashes are cold. Touch the stone stove in the center of the room. You'll pull your hand back instantly. The stone is scorching hot. Hot enough to burn. Hours after the fire died, the stone still holds enough heat to warm the entire room. This is radiant heat, not convection. Your furnace blows hot air around. Convection. Air circulation. Radiant heat is different. It's infrared energy. It doesn't heat air. It heats objects. It heats you. Stand next to a masonry heater and you feel warmth on your skin. Deep warmth. Penetrating warmth. Like standing in sunlight. Like the heat from a campfire on your face. Your furnace heats the air to 72 degrees Fahrenheit, and you're still cold. The air is warm, but objects are cold. A masonry heater heats objects directly. The air temperature can be 62 degrees Fahrenheit, and you're comfortable. You're getting heat from radiation, not from warm air touching your skin. The mechanism is brilliant. Simple physics executed perfectly. The firebox is small, smaller than a modern fireplace. You build a hot, fast fire. Very hot. 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. The fire burns completely. No smoke, no creosote, just pure combustion. The hot exhaust gases don't go straight up a chimney. They travel through channels inside the stone mass. Winding paths, serpentine routes. The gases transfer their heat to the stone. By the time exhaust reaches the chimney, it's barely warm. All the heat stayed in the stone. None wasted up the chimney. Your modern fireplace sends 85% of its heat up the chimney. Heats the sky. Wastes fuel. A masonry heater captures 90% of the heat, stores it, releases it over 24 hours. The stone mass is enormous. 1,500 to 4,000 pounds of brick, stone, or ceramic. That mass takes hours to heat, but once heated, it takes hours to cool. The surface temperature stays between 130 degrees Fahrenheit and 180 degrees Fahrenheit for an entire day. You don't feel dangerous hot. You feel steady warmth, constant comfort, no temperature swings, no cold spots, no drafts. The heat radiates in all directions, 360 degrees, warming everything in the room. Walls absorb the radiation, floors warm, furniture warms, people warm. The entire room becomes a thermal battery. Everything holds heat. Medieval peasants would build one fire in the morning, feed it for 2 to 3 hours, let it burn completely. Then they'd close the firebox, bank the heater, let thermal mass do the work. The stone would radiate heat for the next 20 to 24 hours, gradually, steadily, perfectly. They'd build another fire the next morning. Repeat the cycle, 1 fire per day, maybe 20 pounds of wood, twigs, branches, scraps. We burn 40 to 60 pounds of natural gas equivalent daily in our furnaces. Continuously, wastefully. They used less fuel and stayed warmer. The technology isn't complicated. It's physics. Mass, heat capacity, thermal inertia, radiation. Concepts medieval builders understood instinctively. Concepts modern builders forgot deliberately. Section 4. The survival application. Extreme cold endurance. Imagine a medieval village in Finland. January. Outside temperature, -40 degrees Fahrenheit. wind screaming across frozen lakes, snow piled against stone walls. Inside the cottage, 65 degrees Fahrenheit, comfortable, warm. The masonry heater in the center radiates steady heat. The fire burned out 8 hours ago. Children sleep on platforms built into the heater, the warmest spots. Adults sleep in beds near the heater. Blankets needed, but not desperately. The stone holds enough heat to prevent freezing, to maintain survival, to provide comfort. This wasn't luxury. This was standard medieval cold climate housing. Finnish kontraheaters, Russian pechkas, German grundoffens, Scandinavian kakelovens. Different names, same principle. Massive stone thermal mass. These heaters kept families alive through Arctic winters. No backup heating, no furnace redundancy, no emergency systems. Just stone, fire, physics. When modern people visit preserved medieval cottages with working masonry heaters, they're shocked. The heat feels different, deeper, more comfortable. Modern radiant floor heating tries to replicate it, costs $15,000 to install, uses constant electricity. Medieval radiant mass heating cost nothing but labor, used minimal fuel. The survival math is simple. A medieval family needed perhaps 2 to 3 cords of wood per winter, gathered from fallen branches, dead trees, waste wood. Modern forced air heating uses 4 to 8 cords equivalent, purchased, delivered, expensive. But the crucial difference wasn't fuel quantity, it was resilience. If a medieval family's wood ran low, they burned less. The heater still worked. Smaller fires, less frequent. But the mass still held heat, still radiated, still kept them above freezing. If your modern furnace runs out of gas, you freeze. Immediately. Completely. No thermal mass to fall back on, no stored heat, no buffer. Modern homes are survival disasters. Medieval stone cottages were survival fortresses. The temperature stability was remarkable. Modern homes swing 10-15 degrees Fahrenheit between furnace cycles, 68 degrees Fahrenheit when running, 58 degrees Fahrenheit when off. Masonry heater homes stayed within 3 to 5 degrees Fahrenheit all day. Steady, stable, comfortable. That stability mattered for health, for sleep, for survival. Medieval peasants didn't wake up cold at 3 a.m. Their heater was still warm. You wake up cold when your programmable thermostat drops temperature to save energy. They slept better, stayed healthier, survived conditions that kill modern people. The fuel efficiency shocked modern researchers studying traditional heaters. A Finnish study from 2011 measured firewood consumption in homes with kontraheaters versus modern wood stoves. Kontraheater homes, 2.3 cords per winter, constant 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Modern wood stove homes, 6.1 cords per winter, fluctuating 58-72 degrees Fahrenheit. Same climate, same house size, 3 times less fuel in traditional homes. The difference was thermal mass storing heat versus convection wasting heat. Medieval peasants couldn't afford waste. Every stick of wood mattered. They built heating that squeezed every BTU from fuel, stored it, used it efficiently. We build heating that wastes fuel deliberately because utility companies profit from waste. Section 5. The physics simplified. Why mass beats air. Here's the physics in plain language. Specific heat capacity. The amount of energy needed to raise temperature. Air. 0.24 British thermal units per pound per degree Fahrenheit. Stone. 0.2 British thermal units per pound per degree Fahrenheit. Those numbers look similar. But here's the critical difference. A cubic foot of air weighs 0.08 pounds. A cubic foot of stone weighs 150 pounds. To heat a cubic foot of air by 10 degrees, 0.19 British thermal units. To heat a cubic foot of stone by 10 degrees, 300 British thermal units. Stone requires vastly more energy to heat, but once heated, it holds vastly more energy. Air cools instantly. Stone stays hot for hours. Your modern furnace heats 2,000 cubic feet of air to warm your house. Total thermal mass being heated, 160 pounds of air. A medieval masonry heater was 3,000 pounds of stone. Which one holds heat longer? Obviously the stone, but there's more. Radiation versus convection. Hot air rises. It doesn't heat objects evenly. It creates layers. Ceiling, 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Floor, 62 degrees Fahrenheit. You feel cold feet and hot head. Radiant heat doesn't care about air movement. It travels in straight lines. It heats whatever it touches. Floor, ceiling, walls, people, evenly. A stone heater radiating 150 degrees Fahrenheit heats a room more evenly than forced air at 120 degrees Fahrenheit. You feel warmer with radiant heat, even at lower air temperature. Medieval builders didn't know the equations. They knew the experience. Stone heaters worked. Air heating didn't exist yet. When forced air heating was invented, builders thought it was better because it was faster. Heat the house in 20 minutes instead of 2 hours. But fast heating meant fast cooling. The thermal mass was gone. We traded slow, stable, lasting heat for quick, temporary, wasteful heat. And we've been cold and broke ever since. Section 6. The construction reality. Why this disappeared. Building a masonry heater takes time. A skilled mason needs 3 to 5 days, maybe a week for elaborate designs. The materials are simple. Fire brick for the firebox, regular brick or stone for the mass, clay mortar. Total material cost, $2,000, $4,000 depending on size. Labor is the expensive part if you hire it out. $8,000, $15,000 installed. But here's the math modern heating companies don't want you to do. Masonry heater. $15,000 one-time cost. Lasts 100 plus years. Minimal maintenance. Forced air furnace. $8,000 installed. Lasts 15 to 20 years. Replace 5 times over 100 years. Total $40,000. Plus annual maintenance, filters, duct cleaning, repairs, plus fuel costs, gas bills, electricity for the blower. Over 30 years, forced air heating costs $60,000, $80,000 when you include fuel. Over 30 years, a masonry heater costs $15,000 plus firewood you can gather free. The lifetime savings are enormous. So why did masonry heaters disappear from American construction? 3 reasons, all economic, none technical. First, construction speed. Developers building subdivisions can't wait a week per house for masonry work. They need furnaces installed in 4 hours, HVAC crews, sheet metal, done. Speed equals profit in volume construction. Second, ongoing revenue. Furnace manufacturers sell replacement furnaces every 15 years. HVAC companies sell annual service contracts. Filter replacements. Repairs. A masonry heater has no replacement cycle, no service contracts, no recurring revenue. Industry hates products that last forever. Third, utility company lobbying. Natural gas and electric companies need consumption. A population heating with masonry heaters and scavenged firewood doesn't buy utilities. These companies lobbied for building codes requiring modern heating systems, codes that made masonry heaters difficult or impossible to permit in new construction. Some jurisdictions banned them outright, called them primitive or fire hazards. Never mind that European countries still use them extensively, still build them, still recognize their superiority. American codes banned them to protect utility profits. The few masonry heaters still being built in America are either in rural areas with lax codes, or they're permitted as supplemental heating, not primary. Insurance companies often won't cover them. Banks won't mortgage homes with them as primary heat. The entire financial and regulatory system is designed to prevent you from being energy independent. Medieval peasants built them anyway, had no choice. Codes didn't exist. We have the knowledge. We have the materials. We even have better tools than they had. But we have codes written by industry lobbyists. We have banks protecting utility interests. We have a system designed to keep you dependent. Section 7. The Modern Rebellion, DIY, Masonry Heaters. Some people are building them anyway. Homesteaders in Montana, off-gridders in Alaska, self-reliant families in rural Vermont. They're building masonry heaters, ignoring codes, or fighting for permits. The knowledge is available: books, online forums, YouTube videos from European builders. The most famous design is the Finnish Contra heater, optimized over centuries. Firebox at bottom, heat channels rising through the mass, bench seats built into the sides. You can sit on the warm stone, sleep on platforms attached to it, live around it. Another popular design, the Russian bell heater, named for its bell-shaped chamber. Hot gases rise into the bell, cool, sink, create circulation that maximizes heat transfer. Simpler to build than channel designs, just as effective. Some DIY builders are using materials medieval peasants never had. Soapstone, massive heat capacity, smooth surface, beautiful. Fire brick rated for 2000 degrees Fahrenheit. Handles intense heat. Lasts indefinitely. Ceramic bricks specifically designed for thermal mass. Engineered for perfect heat retention. They're building heaters that outperform medieval designs using modern materials and medieval principles. The results are remarkable. Testimonials online describe transformative experiences. Homes staying 68 degrees Fahrenheit on one fire per day, firewood consumption dropping 70%, comfort levels increasing, no more dry air from forced heat, no more cold spots. People report sleeping better, breathing easier, feeling healthier. Radiant heat doesn't dry out air the way forced air does. Your furnace blower drops humidity to 15–20% in winter. Desert dry, unhealthy. Masonry heaters maintain 40–50% humidity, comfortable, healthy. But here's the crucial point. These DIY builders are fighting systems designed to stop them. Building inspectors red tagging their work, claiming code violations, insurance agents refusing coverage, banks refusing mortgages. The rebellion exists, but it's still underground, still fighting uphill. Medieval peasants just built them, no permission needed, no codes to fight. We have to fight for the right to heat our homes efficiently. That fact alone tells you everything about whose interests modern codes serve.